Now, the South African National Roads Agency, SANRAL, is using this day to contribute towards literacy as a human right by reaching out to South Africans living in rural areas who ordinarily don't have online access to their bursary and scholarship offerings. We're joined now via Zoom by Project Manager at SANRAL, John Rammutla. A very good morning to you, Mr. Rammutla. Thanks for making the time.
Good morning, Desiree, to you and your viewers, and thanks for having me.
Now, SANRAL is using this day to expand the reach of your bursary and scholarship programs to rural areas. How are you doing this?
Well, firstly, Desiree, SANRAL has joined local and global organs of state in celebrating this day. And we have, over the years, been able to contribute to literacy as a human right and continue to do so as a foundation for learning. And we've been able to do this, like you've mentioned, through the establishment and now the broadening of our bursary and scholarship programs. And we ensuring that these bursaries and scholarships, they reach the very, very rural parts of South Africa where otherwise learners would not be able to have access because of the digital divide.
How did you get to the conclusion that students in rural areas struggle to access your academic assistance? How else is this inability to go online affecting people in rural areas?
Well, we have seen with the applications that we have received and eventually the students that are actually part of our program currently. And also, I'm actually a beneficiary of this program, and I've seen how it was challenging to previously have access to these opportunities. And so SANRAL's decision now to ensure that these opportunities, they go out to the very rural parts of South Africa, it's critical and absolutely important. And we have seen this need because of the applications that we have received, that your rural province like Limpopo, Northern Cape, normally in terms of the applications that we receive and the applications that get to be successful, the numbers were not previously coming through, and hence now this initiative to broaden it more.
You've also reduced your application requirement, which previously was strictly math and science and a 70% achievement. You've broadened it to a few other disciplines and also reduced the requirement to 60%. Why is this the case?
This is in line with the SANRAL's employment equity transformation policy. We wanting to reach out to as many learners as possible, particularly those coming from a disadvantaged background. And so these requirements, they were in particular structured to ensure that we are as inclusive as possible. And just maybe touching base on the part of this transformation is to ensure that we don't just cater for engineering students, but we also cater for learners that are wanting to pursue careers in legal, in HR, and other disciplines that are relevant to SANRAL's business.
So which specific areas have your community engagements taken you to? And what was the experience like?
We've been in many other parts, in most provinces in South Africa, if not all. It would be very difficult to mention specific towns. But I know that currently the different marketing teams are in different provinces and doing scholarship and bursary program runs and ensuring that they reach out to as many people as possible. But it's currently, these are programs that are being implemented nationally. And we do encourage our learners, particularly those from rural schools, to make sure that they form part of these programs and understand what are the requirements and how they should take part in these programs.
So your mission goes beyond the provision of bursaries and commits to community development where these students come from, so jobs can be created locally. How do you plan to go about this?
Absolutely. Our mission, in fact, what SANRAL is, we said to be now focusing on just beyond roads. And we are doing a lot of work where we have our roads going through and the communities in which we work. And this remains central to part of SANRAL's New Horizon 2030 strategy that ensures that we contribute to the development of our country and we don't leave anybody behind. And this SANRAL bursary and scholarship programs, it's one vehicle where we are using to make sure that our objectives are achieved.
So, Mr. Rammutla, this might just be a conversation for you and I, but for people, South Africans watching, it's a real issue. Unemployment is a real issue, and people are wondering how realistic is this, and maybe how they can access these offerings. What should they be doing to access these offerings? But I also want an answer from you in terms of the real work that's going on behind this and how you hope to sustain it.
Yeah, well, fortunately, SANRAL, it's a good thing that we're not just involved in the scholarships and bursary programs. So this is one vehicle, but also, like I've mentioned, through the projects that we implement, we are guided and we are committed to creating as many job opportunities as possible, particularly to young people where we do work. And we have various programs that we have that are geared towards making sure that we develop local subcontractors where we work and making sure that we maximize on participation of local labor. But very important, the benefits of these scholarship and bursary programs, of course, the benefits will be realized a bit much later on. And I'm a classic example of that because I come from Limpopo province in a very small rural area called Marudeng. And how this bursary came to me was actually through my teacher. And I've seen how that has actually helped me to be where I am today and able to help other young people to access the same opportunities and even give them more information that can help equip them to be able to actively participate in the economy. And I encourage even my other colleagues to do the same and others who are in positions where they are able to go back and help their fellow learners where they come from. So the benefits of this program, it's now, but more long term. In that the benefits can only be seen as we take in more people and make sure that they actually are successful.
It's great that you give yourself as an example of the success, but at what point can we see real tangible results as a result of this program being implemented?
Absolutely, good question. So currently, we would be able to see that the success of this program would be measured. Number one, we need to look at it separately. So in terms of the scholarships, we are looking at learners from grade 8 to grade 12. Now, these are the learners that are coming from families that are not able to otherwise contribute sufficiently to their educational development. And SANRAL comes in and we're able to provide support to these kids. That means that they can focus on their education and not have to worry about many other challenges that otherwise kids from rural areas would face. But on the bursaries one, the benefits, the immediate benefits that we would see is that we would now, we know, following now the fees must fall movements, problem with access to funding for higher education, SANRAL is coming in to fill in that gap. Very important. It's coming in to fill in that gap, and the benefits will be seen by seeing more young people who now have access to funding to tertiary education, and that can only be great news, and it will be a relief to our current NSFAS system, where we're relying on other government agencies and private sector to contribute to the funding of tertiary education.
Lovely talking to you. John Rammutla is a project manager at SANRAL, talking to us about the work that SANRAL is doing to try and reach out to rural communities as they disperse their bursaries and scholarship programs, especially on this day, which is International Literacy Day. Let's just remind you of that question we're asking for the day. COGTA Minister Dr. Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma to brief the media on the process towards the 2021 local government elections. What are your expectations? 2 platforms you can speak to us on, at @theagenda_SABC on social media, but you can call in or send in your voice note on 084 8133 465.